18 of their ships captured or sunk. Of the 27 British ships, all 27 survived the battle, some of them badly damaged. The Admiral was killed at the Battle of Trafalgar, and at the bottom of the column here a picture sculptured out of melted down French cannon captured at Trafalgar. And one of them is the picture facing us more or less now, behind the bus, of where he received a fatal wound, was carried to the surgeon's cabin and died 3 hours later. Just before he died, he learnt that his fleets had been successful. Almost his last words were, "I thank God I did my duty." He certainly did. You never know, you might bump into them again sometime. Through the archway on the left, Buckingham Palace, right down the end of the road, where the royals live when they're in London. If you look on top of the lampposts,
Akkor is tudtad, hogy ügyvéd leszel?
look on top of the lampposts, what do you see? What is it? A gold crown. Well done. Tells us we're in the Crown Estates. From the Crown Estates, the royals get their income. They own the land. Businesses on the land pay a ground rent to the royals. It's very expensive. And on the right-hand side, we're passing the White's Club. This is where Prince Charles had his stag party before he married Princess Diana. 29th of July 1981. The oldest of the gentlemen's clubs. The history of that club goes back 316 years. On the left is the Ritz. We're approaching the most famous hotel in the world. Because if anything is ritzy or putting on the Ritz, this is the hotel to which it refers. Queen Mother used to love to come here and have afternoon teas with her grandson, Prince Charles. We can all have afternoon teas here if we like. It costs £38 for afternoon teas. It's shortly going up to £39, so pop in for a bargain. Mind you, waiting time for a table between Monday and Friday is approximately between 6 and 8. There are over 420 parks and gardens in London. This park on the left-hand side is the smallest of the royal parks in central London. It's called Green Park. Can anyone see the elephants? Look to your left. That's the elephant patrol. Off to the palace. A few minutes walk down. It's about £12 and you can tour inside that palace. Very nice. If you were to walk all the way around this park, it's just over 5 miles round. You could build a city in this park. If you go to Regent's Park, where the London Zoo is, it's about the same size. You could build a city in there as well. Hampstead Heath in North London, wonderful area. You could build a city there too. To our right-hand side, we have the Dorchester Hotel, a very famous hotel in London. 250 rooms. To keep the revolving doors nicely oiled up here, because Elizabeth Taylor's had a good number of The right-hand side, above the Lexus car showrooms, right at the bottom on the maps and get the information they require. It's always a thank you to the glowworms they carved into the stone. The words written by the side of the animals read, early one morning, got across the wall, went to the north side of the palace, climbed up a drainpipe to the first floor level. Says, one would like a cigarette lighter for a cigarette. Well, security thought, that's rather strange. 7:30 in the morning, the Majesty of the Queen doesn't smoke cigarettes. So up went security and out went the Grosvenor Gardens. Have a very strong French connection. The gardener's huts either side are decorated with seashells that come from the beaches of Normandy in northern France. The statue on our right, the horse and rider, is Field Marshal Foch, Commander-in-Chief of the Allied forces during the First World War. The gardens were put here to enhance the Entente Cordiale, which is an agreement of friendship we have with our French neighbours across the Channel. It has a large wardrobe, probably not as large as Queen Elizabeth I. When she died, they counted her dresses. She had just over 2,000. Her Majesty the Queen only occupies 12 rooms in the palace, which is very frugal of her really, because there are over 600 rooms in Buckingham Palace. Look to your left, this is the entrance to the Royal Mews, claimed to be amongst the finest kept stables anywhere in the world. Kept behind these glass windows on the left, you can see the beautiful gold coach used for coronations. That is gilded 22 karat gold. The glass coach is used for weddings, but the most comfortable coach must be the Australian coach. Electronic windows, air conditioning, central heating. And this is our stop for Buckingham Palace. To go to the front of the palace, walk straight ahead and turn left. So the traffic lights there and turn left. Yes, come back here, come every 10 to 15 minutes. You have earphones and listen to a commentary as you go around. The change in the guard takes place at 11:30 tomorrow morning, behind the gold top black railings there to our left. To our right here, number 10. This isn't 10 Downing Street. This number 10, these are the offices of Prince Charles. Straight ahead of us, this road with the cars coming towards us, is known as Birdcage Walk. In the year 1603, King James I came to the throne. He was the one who gave us the King James version of the Bible, the authorized version. And all the way down that road there, he had bird cages, little birds inside them. Well, he's gone. Westminster Abbey. It is nicer to walk through the park on the left. You can walk from Bayswater all the way down to the Houses of Parliament pretty well through parks. Kensington Gardens. High Street goes back to the 1300s. It was mainly in the 1500s when Queen Elizabeth I brought it into prominence. Our great architect Sir Christopher Wren went to this school. More recent times, Andrew Lloyd Webber, our most successful musical playwright, went there. And now, on the right-hand side of the Abbey, there are thousands buried here, have their ashes here, memorial plaques or monuments to their lives. Not just kings and queens. In fact, there's no room to bury kings and queens here anymore. The royals are now buried at Windsor Castle. We've got politicians here, we've got some wonderful scientists. For example, Sir Christopher Wren is buried here. That's one of you buried there, Sir Laurence Olivier. Well, there's a little protest going on here on the right-hand side. Some people are protesting against the soldiers being in Iraq and Afghanistan. They want the soldiers to come out. Some are to do with Sri Lanka as well. Straight ahead of us, the Treasury. Underneath the Treasury, the Cabinet War Rooms, where Winston Churchill and his War Cabinet planned operations during the Second World War. After the war, when it was all over, Winston Churchill took the last puff out of the cigar, put it in the ashtray, and it is still there today. Like a time warp of 1945. MI6, external security. That is James Bond country. You may remember the film The World Is Not Enough, where James Bond comes out in that speedboat and chases that nasty lady all the way down to the Thames. A wonderful boat chase. That's where it came out from. Look to your left-hand side, over your left shoulder, the very best views of the Houses of Parliament. The mother of all Parliament. She has given birth to so many democracies throughout the world. Still known by her favourite title, the Palace of Westminster. That is where our kings and queens lived, right up until the year 1512, when King Henry VIII had to move out because the place caught fire. He said, the greatest achievement of my life was to convince my wife Clementine to accept my proposal of marriage. This is the most powerful square in Great Britain. To the left we've got the Houses of Parliament. That is where our laws are made. To the left now, this is the church. Winston Churchill is buried in. This side represents the church and the most famous abbey in the world on the left. This next side, straight ahead of us here, the highest court of law in the land, the Supreme Court, is where the 12 law lords make any final decisions that have not been concluded in any court of law in this country. And now on the left-hand side, the Treasury. The Treasury, these are the people who squeeze the taxes out of us. They're also known as a part of it being the Now they're going to get off the horse, dismount. Keep watching, you might be lucky. They tap the horses on the head and they jump off the horse. Those horses are Irish blacks, beautiful horses. On the left-hand side here, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Admiralty. It was here in room number 39 during the Second World War that Ian Fleming was a commander in naval intelligence. That's why James Bond. He named his house Golden Eye. And one day he was in the airport at Jamaica. He went into the bookshop there. He was very impressed by one of the books in particular. It was The Wild Bird Life of the West Indies.
Ja.
Nelson's column. The column itself, which is the most famous column in Great Britain,
Hát akkor most már visszajövünk, vagy
is
megyünk vele, nem?
70 feet tall. The reason why it's 70 feet tall, it's the same height as the main mast of his ship, HMS Victory. The ship on which he was killed at the Battle of Trafalgar. The night before the battle took place, he knew he didn't have a side built in the year 1723. On the left-hand side, the entrance to the Royal Courts of Justice. There are 88 courtrooms in there. This is where civil cases take place. For example, the inquest into the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, took place here. Sir Paul McCartney's divorce settlement took place here. Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas successfully sued the Hello magazine here. Looking in the centre of the road, see the dragon. The dragon on top of the monument. The dragon is the emblem of the City of London. About where that red bus is ahead of us, to the left there, is where Sweeney Todd had his barber shop. But some poor unfortunate would go to Sweeney Todd's barber shop for a haircut, disappear through a trapdoor, and reappear in a meat pie in Mrs. Lovett's pie shop. Now the building on our left-hand side is the Ale and Pie House. Like a nice meat pie, this is the place to come. Although I do admit it tastes a little strange every now and again, but you do get used to it. On the right-hand side, as we pass the traffic lights, the Prince Henry Tea Room, the oldest tea rooms in London. They go back to the 1600s. Now, if you look down that road, but at the top of the buildings, about halfway down on the right, you'll see a gold statue on top of the dome. So if you look to your left, this is the Statue of Justice over the Old Bailey. This is where our criminal courts are held, where people are tried for murder, tried for terrorism and that sort of thing. It's free to go in, you can go and listen to the court cases there if you wish. Straight ahead of us though, this is this absolutely magnificent building. The masterpiece of Sir Christopher Wren. This is St Paul's Cathedral. Is anyone coming off for the cathedral? Coming down for this one, coming down for this one. Houses on it, shops on it, pubs on it, even a church on the bridge. On the far end, they used to close the gates at night. On top of the gates were spikes. On top of the spikes were heads of people who had been executed at the Tower of London. And there were places of execution, like the Smithfield Meat Market. Some of the houses that were built here jutted out over the edge of the bridge, and sometimes they would collapse into the River Thames. If you were inside your house, you would drown. Have a look to your left, there is Tower Bridge. There's a big ship, because that ship could not get in unless Tower Bridge opened up to let her in. So she does open up to let the big ships in, and there is a big ship, HMS Belfast. The flagship of the Brighton, they're like that, but look to your right, this is a great place to be frightened. This is the London Dungeon. Above the door it says, enter at your peril. Good advice. Is anyone getting off here? Nobody coming down. David, thank you. The more you scream, the more they like it. They do help you to scream as you go round. If you look straight ahead of us, on the right-hand side in the distance, you see a building with a lot of flags down the side, on the right-hand side of the road. And just over halfway up the wall is a V2 rocket. Well, this is Winston Churchill's Britain at War experience. To give you an idea what it was like to live in Britain and London. London is governed from this building. Boris Johnson, the Mayor of London, and his London Assembly govern London from the Leaning Tower of Pizza. Well, they call it the City Hall. On the left-hand side, this school is gradually being knocked down. Its history goes back to the 1500s. St Olaf's. John Harvard went to the school, the great benefactor of Harvard University.
Azt akartam, hogy ez lehet, hogy sokáig fog tartani, amíg itt átzaklatunk.
Those of you interested in English pop music will be interested. Cliff Richard went here. Have a look through the archway of the bridge. You can see the bridge is opening up. Tower Bridge is opening up, so we're going to be stuck in traffic here for a while now.
Fel fog nyílni.
It's opening up to let some tall mast ships in.
Majd felnyit, látod az aszfaltsíkokat?
Ja, tényleg. Jó lenne bemenni.
Látod? Érdekesebb lett volna onnan látni.
Aha.
Have a look across the river on the left-hand side. There's rather a strange-looking building there. A glass building. In the United States of America, in New York, they have the Big Apple. Well, here in London, we'd like to introduce you to the Gherkin. Recently been sold.
Nem megy vissza.
Both these two glass buildings, but just try not to miss it. It's one of the two most visited of all the historical buildings in the United Kingdom. It's 530 carats. It's called the Scepter with the Cross. You only get about 16 seconds to look at it because you're on a sort of moving platform. So you have to pay attention,
Anyának
otherwise...
nem annyira megy az Y.
Yeah, where was that then? Have to queue up again and go and see it again. Well, the bridge is going down now. Well, let's hope it doesn't open up as we're going across, because one day a London Transport bus was going across there when it started to open up. The driver had to decide what to do. Should he put the bus in reverse? What he could have done. It's quite a slow gear. Or should he put his foot on the accelerator? Taking a greater risk, because the bridge is opening up all the time. For those who've seen the film The Blues Brothers will have an idea what he did.
A hajóról, ahogy felnyílik.
Places of interest to see. And nice views to look across the river to see on the far side. See the warship on the left-hand side. In the distance you can see the dome of St Paul's Cathedral. Give you an idea how strong and how heavy that dome is. If you put 6 of those ships, one on top of the other, about the same weight as the dome of St Paul's Cathedral, around 65,000. You see the Union flag flying in the 4 weather vanes up there. That's where the very first tower was built. Known as the White Tower. We still call it the Tower of London to this day. These extra walls were built here to protect further monarchs. Well, here we are, that's the Trafalgar Square. The National Gallery is behind the fountains on our... The Romans, in their language, call him Cupid. Cupid, draw back your bow and let your arrows flow. You know, it's all that sort of songs, remember? Well, we have a legend about this statue here. If you happen to sit or stand around this statue at 12 o'clock midnight, as Big Ben is striking 12, if at that time you declare your love to your loved one, it means that you will stay in love forever. Which is very nice. Except, it looks like there's quite a lot of people waiting for midnight tonight. There won't be too many places left by the time Big Ben strikes 12. During the daytime tomorrow, if you're here, walk down the road on the left-hand side. 4 minutes on the left, the Queen's Grocers, Fortnum and Mason. You can easily recognise it because if you look down, see the first flag on the left flying over the top of the building, halfway down on the left. That is over Fortnum and Mason. If you were to turn left now, walk up the road, 4 minutes on the right-hand side, you come to Hamleys, the biggest toy shop in Europe. 5 floors of toys, games and toys. Of course, the children don't like it in there very much, so the parents have a wonderful time.
Voltam. London legnagyobb játékból.
Straight ahead of us, Shaftesbury Avenue. Now, if you love the theatre, there are 5 theatres in Shaftesbury Avenue. Around the surrounding areas, there's over 60 theatres, the most concentrated area of theatreland anywhere in the world. The longest running musical in the world is just up here on the left-hand side, Les Miserables. The longest running musical is play, not musical, the longest running play is also in London. Going to 58 years. The Mousetrap, Agatha Christie's Mousetrap. If you look to your right, at the top of the building there, you can see on the corner at the top 3 gold ladies. These are the 3 graces. faith, hope and charity bungee jumping off the top. Along the right, where the fountains are, you can see the 4 horses. These are not the 4 horses of the apocalypse. These are the 4 horses of Helios, the Greek god of the sun. Now anybody wishing to catch a blue route bus, just look to your left. Now outside the sushi bar, just to the left, you see the bus stop? And that's where the blue will go from. See the bus stop there? Just over that road. The next turning on the left, we haven't come to our stop yet, but if you were to turn left here, take the second turning on the right, you'd be in the heart of Chinatown. If you like, no, it's Chinatown. Up here, turn left, second turning on the right. Chinese restaurant.
Na merre menjünk a szóba? Erre menjünk a szóba.
Menjünk most arra, gyere, arra még nem voltunk.
Arra még nem voltunk. Itt osztogatnak valamit? Itt nagy sorában. Ez a szomjas bár.
Most tebe?
Király, minden király.
Ó, jó hangulatot, meg 1 millió hangolnak.
Hát igen.
Pendulum.
A kutya és a kacsa.
Ohne mais spectrum.
Hát csak a sanyó maradt. És
Szeretnék csinálni egy fényképet veled, meg a piros telefonfülkével.
jó, na gyere. Belül legyek vagy kint?